Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. What week is this? Week 3 of boot camp, am I right? Yeah, I think it's week 3. So tonight we are talking comparison mode or imposter syndrome or everything that falls in between all of that. So I thought this was a really good time, in the beginning of our boot camp to talk about these things, kind of squash some fears. Crystal's got a bunch of tips to, overcome these things and stop looking left and looking right, because that's the easiest thing to do, right? You can be proud of yourself. You can write out all these goals. You can have your business popping off. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, what's Brittany doing? Or what's Crystal doing? And you start looking here and there, and you think that their stuff's better than yours, and they're better than you, and they're doing better than you. So I just want to clear it up. Let's start with, I think the main thing is people feel like they're behind. You feel like you're behind. You feel like you're not enough. That's the main two feelings that most of you all have. You mainly feel like you're behind, and it may not even be a team thing. You may not just think, in business that you're behind. Let's be honest, when you're on social media, you see everyone else's highlight reel, so you think that you are behind in everything. So maybe you hop on Facebook and you see Crystal just got a new Escalade and Tiffany just got a brand new house, and now you feel like, oh, well, we're the same age, or we graduated at the same time, or we went to the same church, and now you're like, but why not me? Why am I behind? Why? I just want to start with, no one is ahead in life. And no one is behind. Everyone is on their own journey, your own timing, in your own seasons. You cannot compare to each other. Me and Crystal could work our business the same amount of hours, talk to the same amount of people, do the same amount of things every day, even in mom life. It don't even have to be business related. We could do the absolute same thing, but everyone is different. Everyone's seasons are different. Everyone's child's going to act different. Everyone's business is going to explode differently. Your mindset is different. One person, you may see all these beautiful things. Maybe they have the brand new car and the brand new house and everything else. But when you compared mindsets, it doesn't necessarily mean she's better than you, but she's worked on her mindset more. Maybe she's bulletproofed her life a little more. Her confidence is a little stronger. You have to think about these things before you start comparing. If you start saying, why is Brittany a 200K and I'm not? Because Brittany built there before you did. It doesn't have anything to do with you being less than her or behind her or underneath her. It was something, exactly, it's a muscle. It's something that she built. She kept showing up. It was her timing that got her there. All she did was show up. And that's the thing. A lot of you all aren't even showing up for your timing. Maybe your timing to get the brand new Escalade was last week, but you didn't show up the last few weeks. You gave up. How do you know when your timing is? Or, like that, it's like a picture where they're digging for, I don't know, like they're digging through a cave, and it shows when someone gives up and they were right there about to hit and break through. Don't be that person. Just push through. So it's easy to feel like you're behind, but you're not. You're on your own journey. We're all different. We all have different needs. We all have different wants. All of our goals aren't the same. All of our perfect life doesn't look the same. Maybe Tiffany's goal is a white picket fence life, but Crystal's goal is not. So why would they work towards the same things and compare each other to each other when they don't even want the same things? We all have different personalities. We're all completely different people. Someone may go hard in the gym all day, but you could care less about the gym, and that's okay. Maybe you're happy with yourself. So if you're happy with your body, why do you need to do these things? Some have kids young, some have kids later. Some people compare themselves and think, I'm still single. Why is she married? Maybe because you weren't open to the man that walked into your life. You were still holding back some. You still have some triggers. You still have things that you need to work through. But you got to stop beating yourself up over things like this. Only you can work towards your journey. And, if you're a believer, only you can align with God and know when your seasons are. No one knows that. Even you don't even know when your seasons are. The only thing that you can do is just show up and do what you're supposed to do. whether it's your inspired actions, doing your IPAs, and I mean, just in general in life, drink your water, take care of your children, tell your husband the only things you can do are these daily actions in your life. That's all you can do. You don't know if, and I'm not saying that, there's a man that just passed from COVID in my area. A week ago, that wife didn't know that she wasn't going to have her husband the next week. So I really want you all to stop comparing yourself and take hold of your everyday. It's your timeline. I want you to embrace that and really embrace the gratitude in things. And I know Shakira just posted something about this too, because she has COVID and her family has COVID right now. And she said that, you really need to embrace the gratitude that you have every day. Did you wake up today? Are you sick? Are you alive? Are your children alive? When you start living in the moment, taking it day by day, and being grateful for the things that you have, you're not going to look left and look right constantly. You're not going to see, oh, well, what's the next best thing? You're not going to go to Brittany's page and be like, okay, what's she doing? I need to do that too. So I really want you to just embrace what you have, embrace who you are, and show up as that person. And I promise everything will fall in line. I promise. So that was all. I just was going to open it tonight and let Crystal take over and give you all some tangible tips, because mine wasn't really tips. It was just like a get your life together maybe, but let me pass it over to Crystal.
No, I love that. And I know that you and I have both kind of like sync with this. Like, this is definitely a subject that we really feel so endeared about. And for me, like, this is something I really, really struggled with for so long. And I did a lot of self-development in this area, but at a certain point, I had to live that self-development. I had to stop using my self-development or just using this topic as, oh, I have these self-worth issues. They're so deep in me. I needed to get past that, right? Like, use the self-development, but actually like have it become me and embrace it, and stop just being like, oh, I need to read more into this. I need to do more in this. No, at a certain point, you just have to, like, in a nice way of saying it, like, get over it. And it's so hard. But when you do, and you really implement the tools that you're given, then it's like so much easier when you really get to that spot in your life where you just don't care anymore of what other people think, because that's something I've really struggled with, is that constant will, because I have anxiety, the constant will of what people will think of me, what I'm going to say this, and what will people think of this situation. And sorry, I have like dental work done, like in a retainer, so I'm sorry that I sounded like I have cotton balls in my mouth. But anyways, yeah, you have to get to a point where you definitely embrace this. So I'm going to give you guys some tips that have helped me. And some of them are, like today we had our Bible meeting, and they actually talked on this subject. So I thought it was pretty cool. So I will kind of implement a few of those in as well. But for me, so I wrote down a few things that had really helped me, and I really wanted to think on it. What really got me to that point of where I did start growing my self-confidence, and I wasn't in comparison mode all the time, or feeling like I was not good enough. And so one of the things was being self-aware and giving yourself compassion and recognizing it. So when you get to that point to where you just really need to dial in on your own self-compassion. So what is it about? What are your skills that you appreciate about yourself? What are the things that you feel proud of? And sit in that. You might need a moment, and yes, self-development in this area will definitely help. But you can't just read and take in all this information about self-worth and confidence and this topics. I got my mind just went blank. You can't, the imposter syndrome, you can't just read and listen to all of this and not do anything about it, because you have to get to the point where you actually implement these things. So these are the few tips that really help me. So sit in it, think on it, list. For me, writing down list, certain scriptures really help me, seeing myself in the way that God sees me. So God is our creator, and he doesn't, when he's like, there's a Bible scripture that talk about how he searches our hearts. He's not searching for impurities. He's not searching for faults. He's not searching for imperfection. He is searching for what we have good in us, and how we our potential. That for me, that hit home when I did some personal research on this, and how he's looking for our potential. Like that's not something we find just in our day-to-day lives, right? So if he's the almighty and he thinks about us that way, why can't we like model that and actually think about ourselves that way? That really hit home for me because I'm a very spiritual person, and that's where I gain a lot of my confidence and reassurance. So if that's how he feels about me, then why can't I do that for myself? Like that made me kind of restructure it into like a different box of like, I want to do right. Like that's important to me. So if he thinks on me like that, then I can think of myself like that. So that was one aspect. And then stepping back and looking at your abilities, your skills, your efforts, what you contribute, not what Krista or Brittany or Sarah or Tracy or whoever on here, not what they contribute, not their skills, not their efforts, but yours, your own personal thing. Because we all have skills that we like, that we have, and really giving yourself, appreciating those skills that you do have, and list writing them. So journaling them out, focusing on those skills that you do have and appreciate about yourself, and focus on those instead of all the other like things that you don't appreciate, or looking at Carissa and saying, oh, like, look at her, look what she's doing here or there. Don't focus on that. Stay in your own lane, sis. Focus on you and what you have to offer. And that was like one more thing I'm going to bring out on the Bible, and I'll keep the rest of it not that way, just in case. But for me, this was a topic today that was talking about Paul. And I love the example of Paul because, he went through a lot of trials, but he didn't never let it stop him. And that really hits home for me. So when I'm going through those self-doubts, I like to kind of like go and read on that. And it talks about how he really felt like he had a lot of knowledge, but he did not feel like he was good at speaking out. And that was his job. And that was his commission, is to speak out. And he didn't feel good on that. And his partner Apollos was really a really good speaker, but he didn't have that confidence in himself. But he didn't dwell on that. And he didn't let that stop him from being someone amazing for us to look at as an example in self-worth. And so when we are with, we might see another teammate and think, man, they are so good at speaking. I could never do that. That is so hard for me. That's when you kind of have to take that light off them and look on you, look at your own worth. So I want you guys, that's a really good homework assignment, is I want you guys to make a list of at least 3 to 5 things that you appreciate about yourself, that you have confidence in. And if you don't, I want you to really sit on it and think on it, and have a sideline sister help you, have your upline person help you. If you can't think on your own of what you can contribute, ask someone to say like, hey, what are the things that you see about me that you appreciate? Share that love and take that focus off the negativity of yourself. And then another thing was reminding yourself that no one is perfect. We make mistakes, and that's actually a really good thing. Have you guys ever thought about when you make a mistake, you're growing? When you put that energy and into something, and maybe it doesn't turn out the way you want, you grow yourself. So there's a positive there. I love Brittany's always helped me in the way of failing forward. So if you don't ever try it, you'll never see where your growth can be. You'll never see where a skill that you don't even know you have. So failing forward is a beautiful thing. It's okay. We all go through that process. Another thing was figuring out and learning and feeling confident. So sometimes we have to practice that confidence. For me, that's what I had to do, as I really had to practice on where to feel confident in something, feel good about something. So I love teaching, and I love sharing that. I feel like a preschooler trying to talk, y'all. Talk about imposter syndrome right now. Anyway, so I love teaching and sharing and that kind of thing. And that's where I grew my confidence. Now, speaking to a big group was horrifying for when someone that has anxiety. It's scary for us when we don't have that, but that's where I've grown myself. I pushed myself. I pivoted myself in those areas because I know that I would get growth from it. Now I really do enjoy it. Yeah, I still get nervous, but I enjoy it because I've worked through that. I feel confident on that piece and being okay with feeling confident. I don't know about you guys, but put a 1 in the chats if you feel this way. Do you have a hard time thinking that it's okay to feel confident in yourself? I really did. For me, that was really hard because, as when you're a spiritual person, we're taught to be humble, right? So sometimes we can mix up that humility with it not being okay to feel confident, but yet the scriptures tell us to feel good on that. So if that's something you struggle with, hit me up in my messenger. I would love to help you guys on that. But if you feel like it's not okay to feel confident, you're totally off. It's beautiful to feel confident. It is healthy to feel confident. It's when we overthink of ourselves, right? But your confidence, and when you go on your stories and you speak confident and passionate and you inspire other women, you are serving and you're getting other women that you're impacting their lives. You're changing lives because of your confidence, because of your passion. And for me, that was something that had to click. And when it did, and it was like, it was okay and good. It's how we use it, right? It's how we use that way. If we use our confidence in serving and helping and loving up and encouraging, that's where it's beautiful. And that's where growth will come. And then you're impacting other people's lives. So that's definitely something that I had to like retrain my brain. And that's another thing, redirecting your brain. If you've lived a long life of feeling inadequate or not, or having self-worth issues, you have a lot of negative trained assets in your brain right now. You have to flip the switch, sister. You have to think about it differently. And when you do, though, like just pick one thing to work on and pick confidence as a study project or something that you personally need to sit down with yourself and just get deep and have other people help you if you need to, but or a spouse, that really helped me. My husband has really helped me in that way. But at the end of the day, it has to be you that believes it, because it doesn't matter. Because I've had people say, "Oh, you're so good at this," or "I can't believe you, I could never do that," and I'm that way about myself, but that you have to grow that on your own. So you can't live on the tails of someone else's thoughts of you, because then that just feeds back into that self-comparison, because then you're going to get in that trap of where you're always looking for what's that, you're looking for accommodation, what's the word, can't think of it, but you're always looking for self-reassurance or reassurance from other people to feed into that self-validation. Thanks, Britt. Yes, you're always looking for that. And that was like one of the books I read. I think it's Dare to Lead, I think it was, but it was talking about that, how it can actually like breed into something else of like being egotistical, which is like far from what you think when you have self-worth issues, and that was another thing that was in our study article today that I really liked, is it can breed into that. If you're comparing yourself all the time, you can go into being egotistical, which for me is like, no way. Like I don't feel like that. I have self-worth issues, but really it does. It can go into that because you're looking all the time to get to be being validated. And that's just crazy. Like you don't want to live your life like that. So you have to make this something that you really want. So I really like that point. And then making space for self-talk. So that really helped me too, to really just be able to tell myself, like the affirmations, telling myself and really believing them. So I've done affirmations basically since I started this business, but I'm going to be honest with you, is extremely uncomfortable for me. And I borrowed affirmations. They were not mine. I did not feel them. I did not really sink them in and say them out loud. If that's relatable to you, put a 1 in the chat. I don't think I'm alone in that, but I had to really pick affirmations and like sit with it and really feel comfortable with them. So I really tweaked them. I got to a point where with my mindset, because of self-development, and something really clicked with me and really believing it. So I want you guys to know it takes time. This is not an overnight thing, but I will tell you that however you do, whatever self-development you use, you might not be a Bible reader, spiritual things might not resonate with you, but for me, that really helped. The book of Psalms and book of Proverbs, seeing how really valuable I was, that really helped me. But maybe that doesn't resonate with you. So Dare to Be a Leader is a good one for a book. Boss Babe, Brittany's podcasts are amazing for that. The Mindset Mentor, I think, is another good one. Get Over Your Damn Self. I'm doing that one now. I'm loving that. It's a really great for business side of it. But yeah, there's so many good things that you can like feed your mind. But once you start doing that and you're consistent with it, consistency is the key. You can't just decide one week, I'm going to do some really good, self-development or Bible study on this, and I'm going to be golden and here I'm going to feel confident. Life's great. No, it's going to take time, and it's going to be something that needs to be consistent. For me, when I really stepped up my game and I did it in the morning and nothing else stopped me, like my husband knows, like he'll even come in and he'll be like, are you in self-development? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, I'll talk later. I don't get on my phone for anything. I go into deep personal Bible study, and then I into a podcast or a training or something, but I feed my mind before I even get into anything. Because if you do have comparison mode issues, if you have self-worth issues, that the first thoughts in your mind are going to be negative, because that's just how it is when you have those issues or anxiety. And so you have to combat that. You have to redirect your mind. You have to retrain your mind. And so doing that self-development really helps, but you have to do something with that knowledge. So once you get that in your mind, you have to practice it. So get in your journals. I want you guys to brain dump. I want you guys to get a self-guided journal. If any of this stuff is really one of your things that you guys struggle with, like I did, you need to do a self-guided journal. I'm telling you, it will change a positivity guided journal, because it will prompt you to write down certain feelings and thoughts. For me personally, when I just brain dump and I journal write, it will trigger my anxiety because it's just too much, it's too open. So a guided journal really helps me because it prompts me, like, what am I grateful for? What do I want to focus on today? What are my 3 goals today? And so that really helped me. I did that with my self-development, and then getting on Pinterest and finding affirmations or YouTube, affirmations that really resonate with you personally. Don't borrow someone else's affirmations, because they're not for someone else. They're for you. Find what you need. And it's okay to pick the things you don't feel. Like, if I feel confident, I feel bold, I feel courageous, I feel this, I feel that. You use those to feel that way. That does not mean that that's how you're feeling today, and that's okay. That's how you get to that. Yeah, find your vibe. That's so true. I like that. Okay, so then not thinking on what other people think and building your own confidence. So I guess we really already covered that. You're not wanting to find someone else's attributes and skills and things that they do and just taking those on, is that's how you think you should have, because you got to be in your lane. You have to be what resonates with you. It's your vibe. It's you. It's not Krista. It's not Brittany. It's not, whoever else is on here, I can't see, but you have to find you, and that will take time, but it's going to be so worth it. So, your inner dialogue starts with how you treat yourself. I loved that. So the things you tell yourself, and I will tell you guys, I'm going to be very vulnerable with you. I still struggle with this, with thoughts coming in my mind, even though I have worked really hard, and I'm 100%, like, I can't even believe the growth that I've personally had in this area when I first started. Like, I'm really proud of myself. I would not have been able to say I am proud of myself a year ago, because I would have felt like that was showing cockiness or some kind of confidence that wasn't good, but I am super proud of myself for working on this. But what I had to do, I still have those days though, where I will, like, I've lost over 170 pounds, but I'll still look in the mirror and I will see the loose skin that I hate. I will see things that I don't like, and I will say, you're fat, you're ugly, in my mind. And I'm like, no. Before, I would have just let that sit there, that disgusting self-talk in there. But I don't now. So now I don't feed into my bad habits. It doesn't mean that I don't have those issues still. I still have those days. Or I'm over 40 and there's a lot of you young girls on here. So I'm like, yeah, this aging thing, so cool, So there's days when I will have that in my mind. But what I do now is I redirect them. I make myself, first of all, I go, no, that is not true. You are not that way. I stop it. And then I tell myself 3 things that I love about myself, and I truly feel them now. So it takes time. Don't think you're failing. Don't think you haven't taken this and you haven't gone far with it when these things happen. We're imperfect. We're going to do these things. But if I can leave you guys with anything, is like really, really look at yourself the way that God sees you. Look at that, because He loves each of us individually. And we're so unique and we all have our own skills and qualities. Look at those things. It doesn't mean that, I think there's too, when you look at someone else, look at something that they do that you like, ask them questions on it. Ask them, hey, I really love how you do this. Tell me more, like, how did you get to that point? You know, because that's not comparison mode. That's learning, and that's humble. And that's going to help you further in your business. So if there's something, instead of like, so just trick your brain, redirect it. Instead of thinking, oh, okay, for example, I'll be vulnerable again. I love Chrissa's, when I was looking her up to get a profile picture to do our graphic, I love how Chrissa has her profile bio. That is something I have been putting off. I need to fix, and I feel like blank in it. I don't know. I need to work on it. But I looked at hers and I was like, oh, hers looks so good. But here's 2 different avenues I can go. I can go with, oh, mine looks like crap. Chris's looks great. How does hers look so good and mine look, oh, now no one's going to want to look at mine. Oh, they're going to think I'm not, oh, this boot camp's teaching me all these things and I'm not even doing them right. Oh, I'm not going to get anywhere. Or I can be like, hey, you know what? I love her font. I love how she worded it. I love how she spaced it out. So I can be like, hey girl, how did you do that? Show me what podcast, show me what YouTube thing you did. Or, hey, do you have ideas on mine? What do you think? Like, we're similar, like the whole, thing, this or that. So how, what do you think? So there's just different ways you train your brain. You're in control of that, of your mindset. You're in control of this. So don't just be like, oh, I have imposter syndrome. Oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I have self-worth issues. So that's just me. That's how it's going to be. No, you grow from that. You work it, you redirect it, you train your brain. Your brain got to the way it is now because of training. So now you got the control. You got the control to train it the way it needs to be. So that really helps. Okay, so there's 2 more points. I already went over them. If you guys did want a scripture, I will give you the one that helped me for seeing ourselves the way that God does. It's at Psalms 103, 8 through 10 and 14. And then the one about how Paul says, even if I am unskilled in speech, I certainly am not on knowledge. And I thought it was really cool, because sometimes we do our own podcasts and research and we don't think it has anything to do with the Bible, but all of it comes from one place, right? And that's at 2 Corinthians 11:6. So if those are things that you resonate with, that's going to be something I'm going to put for me to look at every day to remind me. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Again, your homework, I want you guys to really be thinking on your qualities that you find beautiful, the qualities that you appreciate about yourself. And if you want to go a step further, share them in the chats. I would love it if tomorrow morning we woke up and we all dumped at least 2 things. We could pick 2 things we like about ourselves and put that in the chat to get our morning just feeling really good. So I love you guys so much. I'm so proud of you guys. This boot camp has been amazing for growth. I hope you're in the boot camp. Don't think that it's not too late. Don't think it is too late to get into the boot camp. Okay, so if you haven't done it yet and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to grow and I just haven't done it yet. It's not too late. Get onto the team chat. It's pinned up there. It's the first thing you're going to see when you open it up. And let's get going. We have 2 weeks of this month and we're going to keep this boot camp going for the month. So you guys, there's no excuse for not wanting to grow. Growth is beautiful, and let's just bring it on. Let's get the next month going. And this is recorded. So if you're wondering what boot camp is all about and you're watching this later, go back to the team page and you can start day 1. Love you guys. Got anything else, Krista? All right, guys, we'll see you in the morning. Drop your stuff in the chat. Let's make tomorrow beautiful. Bye.